All right. We're in a series called Human Beings, and we're continuing on in that. And today I want to talk about the humanity of Jesus. Okay? We've been talking a lot about what it means in different aspects of being human being. And today I want to talk about how Jesus Christ became a human being and what that means for us, like how that changed everything. Okay, he like I don't know about you. There's some of these things that you I feel a little awkward if I get a little awkward because I've had to stand perfectly still for 9 weeks while I'm preaching, so now I don't know what to do. All right, I'll do it. We'll just do it. But but God coming, Jesus coming and putting on flesh for us. I don't know about you, but that sometimes messes with my head and it's too much to actually wrap my mind around. But there is so much in that, and that really is what this Christianity is all about, right? And the interesting thing is that when Jesus was here on this earth, people didn't have a problem seeing the humanity that he had put on human flesh because they saw him in the flesh. The problem was they had a harder time being convinced of his deity, he was God. And his disciples there, they knew, they followed him, they saw this. But when they got just a couple of generations past, all of a sudden there's some issues with people remembering or understanding that he put on human flesh, even that soon after he was here on earth with us. And of course, now, even further away, sometimes we have trouble grasping that. Now, lots of people that don't believe in God, that don't believe in Jesus, they say, oh, well, yes, he was a good man, a good teacher. And they're like, I'll believe that he was here in the flesh, but I don't believe his deity. But sometimes in the church, we forget what his humanity did for us. We forget what all that encompassed and wrapped up and basically tied it up and put a bow around it and then fixed it all is what his humanity did. In 1 John 4:2, it says, by this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God. And so now we have here where they're talking about it's anything that is not of God cannot confess that Christ came in the flesh, that he put on skin and bones over his deity, fully God and fully man. Like I said, it's hard to even wrap my mind around truly all that encompasses, but I'm going to try to here because it changes everything for us and it means so much to us even in this moment that we're in. See, he was human all the way down. Wait, what? No, I mean, he was God and then put a little skin. No, like he had to become fully human in order to do what he wanted to do for us. He had to deal with the things that we have to deal with in order to fix that. The anger, the stress, the tiredness, the weariness, getting thirsty, getting hungry. Those are things that we're going to talk about. What's the importance of Christ being fully human and fully God? I'm going to try to lay out a few points here today. And of course, there's even so much more to it, but hopefully this helps us today. In John 4:6, it says, "Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat by the well. And it was the 6th hour." See, Jesus, he didn't float around when he was on this earth. He didn't just translate himself to the next place he wanted to go. He walked. He walked just like you and I walked. He went and traveled, and it took him the same amount of time, and it took his legs the same amount of strength, and his legs and his body got tired because of the traveling that he did, ministering while he was here on this earth. We say, "I'm tired. God, I'm so tired." But you know what? He felt that too, so that he could enter in when we're in this moment and say, "I know where you're at, and I want to help you." He became tired. And when he went to the well, why do you think he went to the well? He got thirsty. He needed something to drink. And he travels, he's weary, and he's like, "I'm tired, and I'm thirsty, and I need something to drink." And of course, he ministered. The thing I love about these stories, these things that we're talking about Jesus, is that no matter where he was or what was going on, there was ministry at every moment. It wasn't this big spectacle. He actually avoided those. He avoided those moments, but it wasn't a big spectacle. It was the walking down the path and ministering. It was going to the well and ministering. It was going out on the boat and just talking and ministering. It was everything that he did was just about living his life it's a life of ministry. It's the same thing that each and every one of us are called to. But he was thirsty. In John 19:28, it says, "After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, the scripture might be fulfilled, said, 'I thirst.'" This is a moment where he's been beaten, bruised, bloodied, crown of thorns on his head, taken and placed on the cross. So that he could do a great work for each and every one of us. And he says, "I thirst. I thirst." But you know what? He felt that thirst so that we could go through our life and not have to feel that same thirst in the way that he did. He was dry, he was depleted, he was stripped of everything, and he thirsted. There was so much more meaning than just even getting a little bit of water. It was that he has taken everything and on himself for you and I. And he said, "I thirst." Matthew 4 says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights afterward, he was hungry." See, the Spirit led Jesus out into the wilderness to be tempted, to feel those things that we deal with. And he hungered. You're like, of course, he fasted 40 days. He was hungry. But see, the thing is that he didn't create some fancy meal for himself out there to just appease himself or just to do something for himself. Like, "Man, I'm hungry. I'm going to turn this," like even before the devil even told him, "Hey, turn this rock into bread and eat it if you're God." And he could have done it even before that. He was hungry. But he never did anything to appease himself. He wanted to go through this life that we go through and to be a part of this world that we're a part of, to feel the same things. He had to do that so that he could take these things that we deal with and change them. And not only that, see these very physical things, hunger, thirst, getting tired, but even our emotions, the heart. He had a human heart. He felt human things like we feel. And in Matthew 4:11, this is after he was tempted and led out by the Spirit and tempted. He was hungry. And then it says, then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. They ministered. Listen, why would they need to minister to him? Because he allowed himself to go through this hardship, these temptations, to feel these things, to feel this hunger, to feel this thirst, and to take these things on like we deal with. And the angels ministered to him. See, throughout the Gospels, it clearly says that Jesus marveled when the centurion came and said, hey, I need healing. But if you just say the word, I know I'm a man of authority, under authority, just like you, and I know. And Jesus marveled. Jesus marveled. In Matthew 26, it says that his soul was very sorrowful. The Bible tells us that Jesus wept. Why do I say all these things? I feel like that sometimes we forget. We forget that Jesus putting on this flesh and this bone for us, that it meant that he walked each and every day of his life feeling the things that we feel. The hunger, the thirst, the sadness, the weariness, being sorrowful, and even feeling the marvel and the wonder and all these different things that we feel. He took those things. He felt those things just like we do. In John 11, it says he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. He was troubled in his spirit. See, he took on flesh, had a heart just like we have, had a mind just like we had. And in the Bible, it says that he grew in favor with people, with man, and with God. See, he had a human mind too. He grew up just like our kids are growing up, just like we grew up. And he went through that process for us. He's fully God, and he's fully man. But see, would we want to place everything that we are in somebody that's not anything but miraculous? That's not anything else but unbelievably human and God. I'm trying to think about the fact that before he came to live on this earth, before he wrapped himself in flesh and blood, that there was a relationship with God. But it wasn't what you and I have today. It wasn't the close relationship, this accepting him into our life that we have today. Jesus was like us in every aspect, human body, heart, mind, will, everything except for sin. Now think about that. And not only did he feel all these things and even feel the temptation, but withstanding sin and pushing that away so that he could go to the cross for us. Blameless, but to take our blame. Team, would you just come up and we'll sing in just a minute. And what happened was that Jesus coming in flesh, feeling those emotions that we feel, feeling tempted like we feel, hungry, thirsty, all these things that we feel. Becoming like us, but being fully God, means that when he went to the cross, he took our humanity and everything that we deal with, everything that we possibly could come across to the cross. He took our sin and our shame to the cross with him. He took a human body so that he could save our bodies. He took a human mind so that he could save our human mind. He took on our emotions so he could help us deal with our emotions. He took on a body that was susceptible to death so that he could conquer death. In the 300s, Archbishop of Constantinople, he said, that which he has not assumed, he has not healed. That which Christ has not assumed, he has not healed. And that's kind of what I'm trying to lay out here today, is that point. That quote right there kind of wraps it up. Those things that if we don't understand, if we think that Jesus didn't put those things on, then that means that Jesus can't actually take those things from us. We have to believe that he was fully human, that he took on flesh, every single bit of it, in order to understand and to know that he conquered it. To know that he has power over sickness, that he has power over death, that he has power over sin and over shame, that there is nothing that he's left out, that he has taken everything that we could possibly come into contact with or possibly deal with, and he has conquered it, that he has taken that to the cross, and it is no longer an issue for us. Yes, we may have to walk through things in our life, but he has taken these things to the cross. Whether I live 50, 60, 70 more years, which would be a long time because I'd be 110. But no matter how long I live, I know that Christ has conquered the grave. And I know that I will go to eternity with him. That this body may get sick, but my spirit, that who I am, who he has created me to be, that I will go be with him and live for eternity, that there is nothing that can take that away from us. There is nothing that can take that away from us. He has conquered. And in these times that we're in, I feel these things. I know that there's so many emotions and we get scared and there's uncertainty. But I say, let there be uncertainty. It doesn't matter to me because I am certain of who Christ is. uncertainty, sickness, struggle. It doesn't matter because Christ took on human flesh. It doesn't matter because I am certain that Christ is God, that He took on flesh and took all this stuff, wrapped it up, like I said in the beginning, tied it in a little bow. He put a bow around it, wrapped it up, and He said, listen, I've taken care of this. I've taken care of you. There is nothing that can come in between you and I. There's nothing that can take you away from me. That if you come to me, all that are weary and heavy laden, come. If you come to me, I will take that. I will take that. I've already taken it to the cross, but you have to hand over the sin, hand over the shame, hand over the hurt, hand over the brokenness, hand it to Him and just say, God, just come and do something in my life because I need you. Christ, I need you here in my life. I trust you. I know that you are fully God, but I also know that you are fully man, that you took on my sin and my shame and took that straight to the cross and conquered it. Just stand with me.